Once upon a time. Welcome to Australian Book Lovers, your destination for imagination.
Australian Book Lovers acknowledges First Nations peoples and recognises their continuous connection to country, community and to culture. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging, and honour the sharing of traditional stories passed down through generations. We're committed to a safe and inclusive welcome for authors and readers of all cultures and backgrounds, including people of LGBTQIA+ communities and their families. A big warm welcome to everyone and a huge thank you for joining us for the Australian Book Lovers Podcast, episode 170. Our mission is to bring fabulous Australian and Indigenous literature that spans a whole range of genres to book lovers around the globe, as well as fantastic resources and information for passionate authors looking to write their next bestseller. I am Veronica Strachan, aka V.E. Patton, fantasy, memoir, sci-fi and picture book writer, coming to you today from the beautiful Wurundjeri Woiwurrung country. And my co-host is...
Yes, I'm Laurie Bell, science fiction and fantasy author, blogger, flash fiction writer, and also coming to you today from the lovely Wurundjeri Woiwurrung country. Veronica, can you believe it is my second anniversary on the Australian Book Lovers Podcast?
I absolutely can. 2 years. You were just going to do half a dozen episodes, see if you liked it, and really it's just gone on and on.
We just didn't stop.
We just didn't stop. And we don't look like we're stopping anytime soon.
No, absolutely not. So
most podcasts stop within a year. We're up to 5 years. You've given us 2 years of fantastic co-presenting. So thank you.
I do feel a little bit more chill, a little bit more relaxed when we kick off. Still have a few jitters every now and then, but I definitely feel like I've settled into the chair. Thanks, Darren.
Yep. Thank you, Darren. So we have talked a lot of books. We've talked a lot of writing and publishing, and we've talked words, and we've talked all sorts of different editing things. So is there anything particularly memorable about the last 2 years that you have on your mind? I mean, these are questions without notice.
Speak to so many authors that I don't think I would have had the opportunity to speak to all around Australia, all around the world, a few, including the amazing Italy. I think we popped into Indonesia at one point with one interviewee. So that's been an absolute blast to be able to talk to so many people about so many good, fun, wonderful books, great words. I don't feel alone.
Writing is a solitary thing, but getting together and talking to other writers is fantastic. So I won't ask if you have any faves, because that's like asking what's your favourite book or your favourite, cat.
It would be you when I got to interview you.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah.
No, that was good. In 2 years, there's been a lot of changes in not only podcasting. I'm better at editing now than I was. But in the book industry. So what do you think have been some changes in the last couple of years since you began chatting?
Interesting. Definitely more of the ease of self-publishing, for sure.
Yes.
That was, even when I was starting out, it was a lot more daunting than perhaps it is now. Although if you're coming to it fresh, it's still very daunting. I do miss the old Twitter, where we had such amazing networks that we would run, and it's just not been the same in in at least 2, 3 years. So definitely I miss that. That's been a massive change because of course that's affected all of our marketing and social mediaing and connecting with people around the world, which maybe we had a bit more of an opportunity back then. I don't know. It
Yeah,
feels
it
it
feels like
feels
it's
different.
splintered, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a good way to put it. Very
Mm,
splintered. So
mm,
you sort of need to be on 6 or 7 different social medias now, whereas before it was only the 2 or 3.
mm,
So that's definitely been a change. What
mm.
do you think over the
Oh,
last two, 3 years? Like massive changes.
massive changes, and I wonder about the marketing, and a lot of people seem to be sort of coming back a little bit and going, okay, I can't do 8
Yeah,
platforms. I'm only going to
yeah,
do 2 or 3, and just taking their chances there. And the
yeah,
communities are slowly rebuilding. There's a little bit on Blue Skies, a little bit on Threads, there's a little
yeah,
bit on here and there. But yeah, we did lose that Oz Rights community, which was just
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, which is how I
Yeah.
connected with yourself, but
Yeah.
also with so many Aussie writers as
Mm,
well, and the
mm,
6 a.m. Writers Club, and
mm,
there
mm.
were a whole bunch of yeah, definitely the Oz Rights. I miss those prompts; they were
Yeah.
fun.
They were really good. Yeah. But anyway, there
Hmm.
are more things we've had. Like in the
Yes,
last episode, we had the fabulous Sydney Authors Inked, the
yes,
crew from there, and the kind of local writing communities are still out there, which is fantastic.
yes, and keep going with your whether it's writers groups, readers groups, book clubs, knitting circles where you talk the book that you've also been reading, because I know
Yeah.
that happens.
I remember my sister saying they used to have a book club, but she said they only had a book about once every 6 months. And other
Oh,
times they'd
wow.
see a movie or they'd just drink a glass of wine and never get the book open. So, it's still that sense of connection, which is a
Yes,
is a great thing.
yes. And I think that's what
Yeah.
it is. It's such a fascinating thing with obviously as authors and as writers, it is very solitary. But the publishing side of things and the marketing side, the networking, the bringing together of other writers to talk books,
Hmm.
that's brilliant and a lot of
Mm.
fun. It's great when you can get onto that. But yeah, it's funny. You put on your different hat, don't you?
You
It's a
absolutely
different
do.
hat.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to ask you, in the last two
Mm,
years, you've done a lot of writing,
mm.
you've done a lot of editing.
Done
How
less than what I should be doing.
No, no. I seem to remember there is book 5 of your Beautiful Stones of Power series.
Here's the
Uh,
final, the
it's
final.
the final. So you've completed
I have
the,
a
what do you
whole
call it? A
a whole
trilogy, a
series.
quaternary? What do you call a 5 book?
Uh, a
Five,
series,
a 5 book series.
5 book series is what I'm going with. Yep, yep,
So
definitely.
you've got that. How is
Mm.
your writing matured, or how have you matured as a writer? That's probably a better way to look at it.
I know my style now.
Mm,
And I know what works for me.
mm-hmm,
So I know how my first draft will go. I know how my next series of drafts will go. I know how long the process will take me if I'm not doom scrolling, which has been my big problem because I was banging out a book every 8 or 9 months from the writing side. Then,
mm-hmm,
you'd spend a
mm-hmm,
couple of years editing. So I'd have
mm-hmm,
one on the go while I was writing one, while I was editing one. Whereas these days, I can't quite get that flow happening.
mm-hmm.
Don't know if it's just the World War III vibes. Hard to say.
Oh,
But
yeah.
there's definitely a lot more doom scrolling going on than I ever
Mm-hmm,
did before.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And it's funny we've talked a few times about getting kids back into reading and how to
mm,
encourage adult readers to enjoy reading again. And it's very much that I find the same. Even as a writer, it's hard to spend long periods of time head down, stuck in the
mm,
work.
mm,
Whereas my train trips, which are about an hour, that tends to work pretty well because it's shorter time frame, short,
mm-hmm,
sharp,
mm-hmm,
full concentration. But yeah, it shows even ourselves, we change
mm,
over time.
mm.
But definitely the writing has gotten a bit crisper. I've learned a few new techniques over the
Yes,
years with my world
yes,
building and with
yep.
my descriptions of things.
Mm-hmm,
So. Yeah, I think every day I learn something else, learn something
Just good.
new, and
And keep picking at it. I think
yeah,
that's a good thing.
yeah,
Even if you do have long periods where you don't feel like you're doing anything, just to keep
exactly.
working at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a great example of that is I booked myself in today for a online course done by the lovely Alan Baxter, who has actually appeared on the show before,
It has indeed.
who's doing a workshop in a couple of months on fighting and
Ah,
writing fight sequences and getting that
excellent.
realistic feel.
Yeah.
I have a lot. Anyone who's read my work knows there are a lot of fight scenes, a
Yes.
lot of fight sequences. So I'm open to learning more ideas, more
Mm,
tips, more tricks, more
mm.
what am I doing wrongs.
Fantastic.
So
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that. So there's always learning to be done, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep at it.
So yeah.
Beautiful.
So,
Nice. So
well,
thanks, Laurie, for two
you're
years,
welcome.
and let's
Yes.
keep going for another 2 years
Yes,
because
indeed.
we are ramping up. Lots more people are listening. Lots more people are sharing their books.
Yeah. Love it.
Sadly, we can't really get any more time on the air until I retire. But even then, uh, an episode a fortnight, and we try and put people in writers' room, and that's fantastic. But yeah, it's a little bit exhausting.
I've still
So
got to work full time. Come on.
yes, I know. I don't want to mention the R word just
Yes.
yet. Let's give it a few more months. Hope my
Yeah.
boss
Yeah.
is not listening.
You are
He
going to
probably is.
be grinning like a loon. You'll be so
Oh, I
relaxed. You'll
am.
have caught
I
up on your
am.
sleep.
I hope that I've caught up on
It's
my
the dream.
editing and my writing. That's what I really do hope I've caught up on.
Yeah.
We have lots more to
Yes,
come.
we do.
We have you leading a fabulous interview. No spoilers,
No.
but next one. And this episode,
Mm.
we have a very
Oh my
lovely
gosh.
chat with Elise Wackett and Jane Abbott, who together are
Mm.
Elise Janes, which was entirely confusing. I just could not quite get my head around because then they decided that they'd go to Jane went to Elise's place
Same
for the
room.
interview, and so they're in the same room at the desk, and so it took me a minute, but it was a great chat, and it was really
Oh,
lovely. So they are the authors of The Canvas Killings, and started their own company to publish their book, which was just
yeah.
brilliant as well, and
Yeah.
yeah, very funny and very open
They
interview.
are amazing characters to just
Yeah.
listen to. And what's hilarious is they're so lovely and charming and funny, but they're writing about the most gruesome murder
I know,
ever.
I know. It's like, oh my God, it's like, be careful. This is really, really violent.
It's
So
gruesome.
let me
Yeah.
just say. But yeah, they're both delightful and, beautiful, gorgeous people. Anyway, so that's coming up. And we
Yes.
also have a reading at the end of the,
Which I am
yes, which
looking
is very
forward to
nice. And
sharing. It's
it's a
gonna be
nice
fun.
little twist in the tale. So you've got to listen
Mm.
all the way to the end. In the meantime,
Yes.
it's time for news. I have a little literary calendar news, and this
Ooh.
episode I've chosen australiareads.org.au, who have
Mhm.
a fabulous literary calendar. And let's just go, say, at the end of April,
Mhm.
we've got the Somerset Story Fest, which is in Queensland, the Sorrento's Writers Festival, the Greek Australian Writers Festival, and the Fitzroy Writers Festival. So I hope some people went along to that. But May is absolutely chock a
Chock a
block.
block. Yeah.
So Alia have their conference, which is fantastic.
Mm.
The Melbourne Writers Festival, Sydney Writers Festival, the Australian Book Industry Awards, the ARBIAs
Mhm.
2026. The National Simultaneous Story Time is happening, which is really lovely. So they're going
I
to
love
read
that one.
Lunaroo, which is great. The Stella Prize is out there. The
Yes.
Readers Writers Festival, the Margaret River. I was hoping that it would be there while I was heading to Western
No.
Australia, but
Oh,
no, not yet. We won't be there yet.
you need to plan
Um,
better.
I do, yeah. I should have looked first and then planned
Yes.
the time. Anyway, the Capricorn Coast Writers Festival, the Bathurst Writers Readers Festival, Words on the Waves, which is great, and the now the New South Wales Premiers Literary Awards. So many fabulous things to go and see or to listen to. Lots of these places now have online simultaneous podcasting, streaming things
Yeah.
happening.
Yep.
And these are just some of the ones that are on there. So please make yourself available to
Mhm.
listen to those literary voices as they share their stories.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I previously mentioned, so that of course the writers' centres all have amazing workshops that are offered throughout the year. They have a full calendar as well. So I've already mentioned Alan Baxter, which is in June, but there's quite a few other, um, and they the whole gamut of memoir writing, of getting tension in your pieces, getting short stories. Like there's a huge number of workshops. So definitely jump onto your state and territory writers centers and make sure you yeah, you have a look at what's on offer. Some of them a little bit pricey, some of them decently priced, but you know what? It's also money going to the authors and
Yes,
to the writers giving these advices. And as we know, a lot of the revenue streams these days come more from the external work to the actual books themselves. So
mm.
we do need to, if we can, celebrate and really encourage our authors and writers to keep getting themselves out there and doing these things. It's a tough gig,
It is
really tough gig.
indeed. But
Mm,
we did miss an opportunity, and I
mm.
should have gone because it was close to me. And I've been to Clunes Booktown previously, but I didn't
Oh,
go this year. What was I
no,
thinking? Oh, I know what I was thinking. I was somewhere else
I
on
was
the
sleeping in.
weekend. But at Clunes Booktown this year,
Yes.
which is a literary festival in regional Victoria,
Mm,
between half and two-thirds of the authors peddling
mm.
their wares were writers of speculative
Genre.
fiction.
Yeah.
Genre
Oh,
fiction. How
amazing.
good is that? Which
Yeah.
is absolutely brilliant. So, if you look on the abc.net.au, there's a story about that, and I had
Yes.
heard it from another source as well. So,
Mm.
they say the explosion in new speculative fiction has happened at the same time as a boom in self-publishing. So, we chatted
Mm.
recently to the delightful Chris Munnery about
Yeah.
self-publishing print on demand and how easy.
Hmm.
I'm making
Yeah.
talking marks here, people, for anybody who's not watching, how easy it is to self publish. A little easier
We,
than it was 10
yeah,
years ago.
yeah.
But yes, and, the vast majority of these speculative fiction authors are
Mm.
using self publishing, which is absolutely fantastic.
And
So,
really interesting given we know genre and particularly sci-fi in
yeah,
Australia can be can be a really tough gig
it can be. Yeah,
and getting sales. So it's amazing that we've got the authors coming out producing their books because you can't get them published in Australia.
it's yeah. Traditionally,
It's
publishers
such a
really hard.
tricky
There's
job.
yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of the big publishers, if they don't have a
Yeah.
particular arm or imprint
Mhm.
that does
Mhm.
speculative fiction, they're just not
Yeah.
interested. But anyway, so
So,
they have a chat there with Arden Baker, who won the Aurealis Best Anthology Award
mhm.
in 2025, which is lovely. So I'm not going to read it all out, but there's some really interesting words.
Mm.
Melanie Ansley, who's got three books in her Riders of Jade and Fire fantasy series, which is a
Mhm.
fantasy analogue of ancient China, along with a young adult fiction trilogy. She was at Book Fair, which, hey, so were we. I'm going to say I remember your face, Melanie, but there were a lot of people there.
Yes.
Uh, she mentioned that she's noticed a huge growth in authors in this space, and she writes she writes the fantasy.
Mm.
The other person that they talk to is V.T. Trichler, who publishes romantasy, blends traditional fantasy with romance fiction,
Mm.
which of course is absolutely soaring.
Yeah.
And she's got 9 novels, lots of paranormal stuff there, and beautiful,
Mm.
and really talks about that fantasy's rise hasn't just benefited the authors who've toiled away for a decade or more, but it's also
Mhm.
encouraged a new generation of storytellers to step out,
Yes.
which is just fantastic. And they've got
Mm.
a first debut author out there, a little bit of guide to self publishing, a few nice things there. So have a look and have a
Yeah.
read. Follow those kind of publishing details. Support some of these, new authors as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, get on
Yeah.
out there.
Absolutely. And one last thing I wanted to remind everyone of, particularly new authors out there and newly published debut authors, at the moment the ASA this I'm grabbing the story from the ASA, but it has been all over social media as well. There's been a massive uptick in email scams coming through to creators of all types, and definitely authors are on that list, where these scammers are just plugging things into AI to get a summary of your book and then writing to authors as if they've read your book. There are a few little tells, but they're now claiming they used to do a lot of scam emails coming from fake agents and fake literary agencies and even small publishers, whereas now the scams seem to be expanding to hit um, book groups, workshops, writers groups, local writers groups. They claim to be, oh, we're a small book club from so and so. We'd love to have you on. Really? How did they find my book? I like to think that I'm out there, but I'm not that out there.
Not
Come
that
on.
out there. Plus,
No.
they always often they'll say just your book, and as you and I both have multiple books, they don't actually mention which one.
Yeah, and what I find is that they pull the summaries from the blurb and from AI, which can quite often mash different bits and pieces of the writing, whether it's actual quotes from the books, but also just mashing themes and all sorts of things together, and makes the email sound very pretentious, but clearly not written by someone who's a genuine person wanting
Yeah.
to chat to you. And you know what? There are small groups out there that do reach out to authors via their blogs and via their, writing forums and all sorts of things on the internet. But do your due diligence, and that's what the ASA is saying. Make sure you do your research, search on the club or the organization, see if you can find out anything about the person named. Don't forget to check their email address, double check that domain, and always treat unsolicited approaches with a pretty heavy amount of skepticism.
Yeah,
So,
don't click on the links.
most of the times, if they're reaching out to you, I know it makes you feel good, and it does, because you think the first line is, I came across your book and it's absolutely marvelous. And of course, hey, no. So do be very, very, very wary of these. I mean, I'm not a massive published author by any means, and I get at least 15 to 20 of these a week. Like, there
It
is a
is a bit insane, isn't it? Yeah.
massive uptick in them at the moment. So yeah, do be
Just
careful.
keep blocking.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
there we go. All right.
That is, yeah, very true.
It's terrible, isn't it?
It is bad. So I think it's time for us to talk
Yes.
about people who have successfully published a book and got it out there with book spotlights.
Book one for our book spotlights today is When Will It Happen for Me? The search for love isn't linear, even for the experts. 2 months before her wedding, clinical psychologist and couples therapist Phoebe Rogers called it off, sparking a profound healing journey that led her to a love she'd never known for herself and ultimately a new partner. Part memoir, part practical self-help, When Will It Happen for Me blends Phoebe's personal story with insights from her therapy practice in a shame-free guide to finding love on your own timeline. Drawing on schema therapy, attachment theory, and inner child work, she reveals the unconscious beliefs that block healthy love and offers a relatable, actionable framework to help you. Whether you're seeking the right partner or deepening love in your current relationship, When Will It Happen for Me is the self-trust roadmap women have been waiting for. Love is out there and it starts with you. So the bio for Phoebe Rogers is, Phoebe is a clinical psychologist specializing in dating and relationships, a couples counselor, and the founder of the Relationship Space. She holds a Master of Clinical Psychology, a graduate diploma in relationship counselling, and is an expert in schema therapy and attachment-informed care. Phoebe has helped thousands through her private practice, courses, and writing to transform the way they can romantically reset and find a loving relationship. She is sought out for her compassionate, direct, and integrative approach using schema therapy, coaching, couples therapy, and good old-fashioned pragmatic advice. Phoebe also runs an online group for women who want healthy relationships. When Will It Happen to Me is her first book.
There you go. Good on
There
you,
you go.
Phoebe. All right, number 2, completely different. My Brother Otto by Ingrid Laguna is a middle grade, and we did chat with
We did.
Ingrid. Let's have the blurb. Quinn's not happy about all the fuss her mum and Alex are making about the new baby. She's sick of their excitement. She likes things the way they are, just the three of them, and Disco, her lop-eared rabbit. She doesn't want a baby brother, and she definitely doesn't want to share her bedroom with him. But when Otto is born 3 months early, things change more than anyone could have expected. Quinn meets her little brother in the hospital neonatal intensive care unit, surrounded by tubes and beeping machines. And she becomes, this is going to make me cry. And she becomes the best big sister any
I
baby
can jump
brother
in
could
if you want me
have.
to.
I just feel a little teary.
Do you want me to help?
That's all right. That's all
All
right.
right.
Yeah, thank you. My Brother Otto is a story about family, love and sadness that delves into an experience of heartbreaking loss with sensitivity, warmth and the comfort that memories can hold. Oh, good on you, Ingrid.
Oh, that's a lovely story.
So our friend Ingrid Laguna is an award-winning author and educator. Her books include Songbird, Sunflower, Serenade to a Small Family, Bailey Finch Takes a Stand, which was awarded Best Chapter Book and overall primary resource winner in the 2022 Education Publishing Awards, and Kit and Arlo Find a Way, which won the same award in 2023. Her writing is featured in various publications, including The Monthly, The Age, and AEU magazine. She regularly presents to teachers and students at schools, libraries, festivals, and conferences.
Lovely. So moving on to a fantasy now. Book 3, The Exiled, A Web of Lies, Book 1 by Jason Smith. With fleets of airships, mansory, and the ability to read anyone's truth, the elves have squashed every rebellion with bloodshed and war. But the arrival of a foreign race on the shores of Balesia threatens to tip the balance of power. Airship captain Salutao of the Elven Armada races to save her home from the human invasion by seeking an alliance with the exiled prince of the Airs. But the prince's court, Salutao, finds someone that brings the legitimacy of the entire elven reign into question. Old tensions rise, and as the continent slips towards another war, Salutao grapples with the weight of what she's discovered. Can Captain Salutao save the next Belisarian war before it begins? And if she can't, do the elves, her own race, deserve to remain in power? I love a good fantasy. For readers who crave escape, Jason Lee Smith crafts fast-paced, immersive fantasy stories with complex and relatable characters. He was drawn to this from a young age, passionate about reading and finding enjoyment in the creation of his own writing. Jason wrote characters that he could relate to in stories that he wanted to read. His aim was to transport himself to vibrant worlds, offering a break from reality. Inspired by self-publishing giants like Will Wright and D.K. Homburg, Jason Lee Smith strives to continue pushing the boundaries of what independent fantasy authors can achieve, delivering stories that captivate the imagination and leave readers wanting more.
Fantastic. So bring it on. Keep going, Jason. We will take as much as you can dish out. All right, book 4 is The Outpost at Tal Ghrna by Simon Dell, and this is a science fiction. The Dominion has fallen. The Sovereign is dead. Communications are down, and the small team from the mining outpost on Tal Ghrna in the far reaches of the Outer Rim haven't heard from anyone in days. Now the locals are rising up. Fed up with years of exploitation at the hands of the Dominion, they believe this is their opportunity to eliminate the invaders and reclaim their homeland. Led by a psychotic megalomaniac, the natives of Tal Ghrna have pledged to rid their planet of Dominion forever, whatever it takes. Ill-equipped, unmotivated and outnumbered by the tens of thousands of native Gurnese, Commander Lucas Dawn must rally the small group of Dominion soldiers, galactic traders and mining contractors together to find a way to escape the planet with their lives. Ooh, that sounds like a good one.
Yep, sci-fi.
So here's Simon's bio. He was born in London in the Kent suburb of Bromley, where your status as a teenager was determined by how close you hung out to McDonald's. Simon moved to Brisbane, Australia in the early 2000s because he discovered he enjoyed sweating profusely 9 months of the year. He's been here ever since, trying to understand the Aussie obsession with going camping. Simon read a mix of classic and modern sci-fi that included, in the last 12 months, Asimov, Heinlein, Taylor, Howie, Wendig, Stevenson, King and Liu. Simon also read a lot of marketing books because as the CEO of Simo.com, that's what he does for a wage. Oh, I like this one. Simon has supported Tottenham Hotspur since 1981, so he understands the value of long-term suffering.
Although, Simon, you need some female writers in there.
I know, right? That was a
just
little
saying.
sad. He's missing out
That's
on
right,
more.
exactly. So, Book 5, Hearts and Diamonds, The Anchor and the Moon, Book 2 by Max Victor, which is a fantasy fairy tale retelling, which I do love as well.
Yes, and we did chat with Max as well
Yes.
on an early episode. He was delightful.
Yeah. Snow White Skin and Blood Red Lips, Fairy Tale Princess or Creature of the Night. As Cinder struggles to come to terms with being a Lichen Queen, a keen new police detective arrives in town. With something to prove, the young detective threatens to expose their secret lives. To escape the heat, Cinder and Angus set off to find Dom, freed from her oppressive mother. Cinder's romance with Angus strengthens. But romance is not the only thing that has awoken because of their union. Something dark, ancient, and powerful is stirring in the shadows. The worlds of the vampires, werewolves, and Nephilim will once again become intertwined. The new mother is coming.
Da, da, da.
And I will mention the bio after the blurb of the next book, which do you want to jump in or shall I
No,
continue?
you go ahead.
I'm
Yeah.
going to continue. Name and Number, The Anchor and the Moon, Book 3 by Max Victor. Alone and vulnerable, Cinder grapples with her newfound powers as a reborn vampire, seeking vengeance while navigating a world of supernatural dangers and hidden truths. Her journey intertwines with the mysterious benefactor, a vengeful vampire, and a lost love as she confronts her past and fights for her daughter's future. So let me tell you a bit about Max. So Max Victor is a Australian author, musician, and secondary school science teacher who has achieved award-winning success with his short stories. It's always the science teachers, I'm telling you. As a child with dyslexia, reading and writing were a constant struggle. To help, his father implemented the nightly routine of reading Tintin and Asterix comics and Biggles books to Max and his brother, installing a lifelong passion for reading. Max's mother also encouraged him to write stories, some of which he has kept to this day. Something again sparked the curiosity for writing stories when Max's children were toddlers. He frequently created impromptu, twisted fairy tale bedtime stories with his family members as the main characters. Max now writes teen fiction and hopes that his writing can inspire young people to be defined by their passions and talents, not by the things that the world will tell them are impairments.
Fantastic.
Good on you, Max.
Yeah, and he was delightful to chat with. All right. Number 7, again, completely different. Meandering to Manila by Keith Dalton. This is a memoir. And it follows the story of Keith, who at just 10 years old declared he would one day become a foreign correspondent and then actually did it. That is a pretty good goal to have when you are 10. So long before GPS, smartphones or cheap flights, Keith was a young journalist working in Melbourne newsrooms, learning his craft at the Herald and Weekly Times and producing radio for Radio Australia. But instead of waiting for opportunity to come to him, he made a decision that would change his life. Without a return ticket, he packed a typewriter into a backpack and set off alone on a journey through Southeast Asia to make his childhood dream real. What followed is almost unimaginable today. Malaria in Indonesia, dysentery in Malaysia, travelling by rust bucket cargo ships, jungle canoes and pre-war trains, witnessing a killing on the Thai-Malay border and becoming the first white person ever seen by children of ex-headhunters in Borneo. It was his journalistic baptism, and it shaped him into the correspondent who would later report for the BBC, ABC, The Morning Herald, NPR and others, covering revolutions, coups, and one of the most turbulent eras in Philippine history. There you go. So Keith's bio, as mentioned, was he was a journalist and a foreign correspondent for 20 years. Then for another 20 years, he was a speechwriter, a press secretary and a communications manager. His 3 years producing Radio Australia's leading current affairs program sparked his interest in international broadcasting, particularly into Asia. Now, he was 25 when he left Australia and spent the next 12 years in Southeast Asia, principally reporting in the Philippines and particularly on the 1986 People Power Revolution that overthrew former President Ferdinand Marcos. And on returning to Australia in 1987, he remained a self-employed foreign correspondent to the BBC, Radio New Zealand, Radio Netherlands and Radio Television Hong Kong. He's been a speechwriter for a politician, a communications manager for a bank and SBS. He's also written his second book, Reinventing Marcos, about the decade leading up to the overthrow of the Philippines' long-standing dictator. Keith and his wife Beth, whom he met in Manila, live in Sydney. That is a full life, Keith.
No, that is, yeah.
And
But
to
there's
know
a
by
lot
10,
going on there.
that's what he wanted to
Absolutely.
do. He set the goal and away he went, and he didn't
At
wait for it to
10.
come. Good
I had
on you,
no
Keith.
idea what I wanted to do at 10.
10.
Although
Yeah,
probably it was writing books.
yeah, I would have had my head into book for sure and been hiding, hoping that meant I didn't have to do the dishes.
So book 8, which is our final for tonight, we're really giving you heaps of good ones today. So The Swimming Group by Bella Ellwood-Clayton, which is a contemporary. My name is Emma Brennan, and I never thought I'd find myself in this position, standing on a Cape Cod beach at sunrise, wondering which of my friends is a killer. I came to the idyllic seaside town of Provincetown to raise my young niece and figure out what to do next with my life. 11 months ago, my sister vanished off the coast of Ocracoke Island, and nobody, no answers, just a teenage daughter left behind and me. At the same time, the man I thought I was going to marry cheated on me with a cute young florist. I joined the Tragic Wives group, a tight-knit cold water swimming group with enough personal drama to fill a bestseller. And one of us has put it in a manuscript, spilling all of our secrets. Then she disappears, leaving just a pile of clothes on the sand. She's the second person I've lost in 12 months. So this is a sexy blend of tension and suspense with an ending you won't see coming. So the bio for Dr. Bella Ellwood-Clayton writes twisty commercial fiction about the secrets we hide from those closest to us. Her novels include The Swimming Group and her debut Weekend Friends. The Trad Wife's Lie was released in March 2026. Her short stories and poetry have been published, and her articles have appeared in Huffington Post, Women's Health and Daily Life. She holds a BA from Concordia University in Montreal and a PhD from the University of Melbourne. She wrote a non-fiction book, Sex Drive in Pursuit of Female Desire, and she's been featured in a National Geographic documentary and given a TED Talk. Canadian raised, she married an Aussie and now lives in Melbourne with her 2 screen-obsessed teens, plus, of course, a mini Maltese who has delusions of grandeur. When not writing, you can find Bella coaxing her offspring outside and randomly blurting out, "Oh, that's a good story idea." And she was actually back in episode 126 in our writer's room. So we've had a few on our spotlights today that we've actually talked to.
Yes, which is lovely. And yeah, we are talking to lots of people doing the best that we can. Unfortunately, it's a long, long list of people at the moment. But
bear with us, peeps.
Hang in there because we can still do it as we did for Elise Wackett and Jane Abbott. So I think we need to jump straight in and talk to them about their fabulous co-authored book, The Canvas Killing. So let's go. So, hello, listeners. I am absolutely delighted to say that I have with me, now I've got to get it right because I would just say I've got the author, Elise Janes, but that's not really true because I've got Elise Wackett and Jane Abbott. Good evening to you both.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening. Thanks for having us.
Yep. You are most welcome. Now, Elise and Jane, I'm here tonight on Wurundjeri, on Woiwurrung country. Whose traditional country are you on, Elise?
I'm in Caulfield and I'm on Eastern Kulin, well, part of the Eastern Kulin Nation.
Fantastic. All right. And Jane?
I'm in Bendigo, although I'm not in Bendigo, but in Bendigo it's Jajawarong.
Beautiful. All right. Fantastic. And look, both beautiful places. And I'd be really interested to talk to you both about writing a book from opposite ends of Victoria and then opposite ends of Australia and all sorts of things. So let me tell the listeners a little bit about the Canvas Killings, first of all. And anyone who is watching us on Spotify and YouTube will see the cover coming up. But let me tell you, be prepared, people. This is a little gruesome. So how far would you go to conceal a murderous legacy? In the early 90s, Australia is scandalised when artist James Montague Ballantyne confesses to killing 8 people and using their remains in his paintings. The nation becomes obsessed with the Canvas Killings, and rumours persist of undiscovered artworks and more victims. His wife and child must flee the media frenzy with new identities, and after covering the trial, celebrity reporter Zelda Munro Fisher builds on her reputation by publicly adopting the daughter of a possible victim. 30 years later, Ballantyne's son Sam Reed has forged a successful life. Loving husband and family man, dependable teacher, and all-round nice guy. The only crack in this facade is his son's inherited artistic talent. Ooh. But Sam knows how to deal with problems until he steps in to prevent a robbery and is thrust into the spotlight. Zelda's adopted daughter Tamsin, now also a journalist, noticed Sam's uncanny resemblance to Ballantyne. Believing him to be her only lead to the missing artworks and the fate of her real mother, she begins a dogged pursuit. Threatened, Sam's increasingly erratic behaviour raises eyebrows. His friend Aidan Voss is puzzled, wife Meg is worried, and his in-laws are alarmed that Sam's 15 minutes of fame may trigger the return of the formidable Alice Newbold, the only person who can verify the existence of one of the paintings and their connection to it. Aidan and Tamsin combine forces, but as their investigation gains traction, it becomes apparent it's not just Sam with skin in this game. Aidan will need to call on all his skills and resources to protect the ones he loves. As the body count climbs, the fallout from the Canvas Killings threatens to taint a new generation. Lordy wordy, what a mouthful that is! How many twists and turns?
You read it well. It's a long time since we've actually heard that. It actually sounds...
That so many things going on there. All right, before we get stuck into the questions, we're just going to give you a quick bio. So, as I've mentioned, Elise Janes is the pseudonym for the writing partnership of Elise Wackett and Jane Abbott. Now, they met 2 decades ago in the chaos of the school playground, bonding under the monkey bars. Their first joint project was a fundraiser for the school parents committee. Their second, The Canvas Killings, involved a few more casualties. Nicely done. Writing from opposite ends of Victoria, then later from opposite sides of Australia, they planned every crime and plot twist by phone and email. Elise has co-authored several Japanese and Indonesian textbooks and is a teacher and travel writer. The Canvas Killings is her first work of fiction. And Jane is the author of 2 novels published by Penguin Random House, Watershed, a dystopian thriller, and Elegy, which was shortlisted for the Ethel Turner Prize for Young People's Literature in 2017. The Canvas Killings is her first crime novel. Right, got all of that out of the way. Excellent. So tell us, started under the monkey bars, but when was the idea that we need to write a novel together?
you started writing just before COVID.
I did, yes.
But it was in 2021, the idea, just after COVID, actually.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, that's where it started.
What was the spark for the canvas killings?
Well, first, I think I just mentioned to Jane that why don't we do something together? And I think I thought at that time crime could be quite easy. Yeah, that was very wrong. And then after that, Jane was on board straight away, and
Yeah.
I went to visit Jane when she was living at that time in Kyneton, and
we spent a few days mulling out a vague plot,
yes,
which was based around the idea of
legacy, really.
Legacy, and if your father had
a memorable name,
a very memorable name,
and also shared it,
and you shared it, and he had committed a heinous crime.
Wow. Yeah.
How would you escape that?
Yes.
So that was what it was sort of based around, and it was very loose, and it changed not a lot, and yet so much.
Yes.
It took us over 4 years.
But it was amazing how much remained the same from the very start.
Yeah.
There's like the skeleton of the whole novel is the same, but there were things around it that changed wildly, didn't they? Like the ending changed many times. Yeah, it was interesting how much stays the same and how much changes.
Yeah, fantastic. And you're obviously living in different parts of Victoria at that time, and you decided that you would do the writing. How? You wake up and say, right, today we're beginning. How does that work?
Well, it's
it works.
Elise brings me and she says, okay, so today we're beginning. And I'm thinking,
right.
I'm not feeling it at the moment.
No, it was good. We're both generally early risers, and obviously sometimes the first text would go out at 6 a.m. You up, call me when you're caffeinated. And then we'd call each other and we'd have a quick chat about what did we think we'd do today, what this chapter would be, what this chapter would be, and we'd sort of go over a rough idea of where we saw the chapters going, and then we'd say, well, which chapter do you want to write? You know, are you feeling it for one or the other? And then we'd decide who'd write what, and then we'd go and we'd start writing. Then there'd usually be quite a few more calls like, hey, now when we said Aidan was going to do this, what do you think we meant by that? Or sometimes we have to unpack it a lot more as we were going, and so there are lots of tiny little calls.
There's a lot of phone calls in a day.
Yes.
And, you kept Telstra basically in the black.
Well, thank God for mobile phones.
Yes.
We could have done this before.
Yeah.
You know, with STD calls especially.
Oh, that's right. That would have been hideous, yeah.
Emails and mobile phone plans.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Text. It was funny, Veronica, one of my sons was working from home not that long ago. He said, you talk to Jane a lot on the so we'd call and write, and usually by lunchtime we'd hopefully have a draft done.
I wouldn't say usually.
No.
Sometimes we'd get lucky and we'd smash it out. And even though that would change down the track, but sometimes there would be nothing for days.
No.
You know, we'd struggle or we weren't feeling it, it wasn't working, and then we'd go back and we'd say, okay, well, if it's not working for either of us, it's not going to work for anyone. So you have to replan.
Or occasionally I'd be doing a chapter and I'd just say to Jane after a day or so, and I'd say, I just can't get this one to work. Can you have a go at it?
Yep.
And then she would usually come back the next day and say, I can't get it to work either. And then we'd realise there's a big problem somehow, so it'd have to change. That was quite sort of relieving for me, I guess, thinking, well, if I can't do it, at least Jane can't do it as well.
One of the best things about writing as a duo was having that instant feedback.
Yes, yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily that the feedback was always right.
No.
And we would come back again and we'd say, no, that's not, it took us a long time to kind of get into each other's rhythm and how, but having that instant, I don't know, it was just so good to have somebody say, no, that's not going to work, or wow, that's the best thing that you've done in weeks,
It's quite it's lovely to get feedback straight away on your writing, but luckily we were good friends anyway, and we are I'd say still good friends.
I think you're both in the same room. That's quite remarkable.
It took perhaps a tiny, I'm going to say 6 months to feel comfortable listening to the other person totally and giving up on what you believed and trusting the other person with what they had.
We are very different, personality-wise and belief-wise and writing styles, everything. We're very, very different, but I think that actually gives us a strength. If we were both similar and we both wrote the same way and we both thought the same way, well, then what's the point?
Yeah.
I think coming at it, the way we has been really invaluable.
Yeah, bringing something different. Did you find that, obviously there were strengths to each of your writing styles. Did you write more of one character than another? So can you recognise, did somebody was more Aidan, somebody was more Tamsin? How did that work?
I think we warmed to certain characters each. Each of us warmed to certain characters.
Or certain...
and we found them easier to write. Yeah. No,
it was, I remember one phone call from Jane when we were writing, so it must have been because I was probably giving feedback that either you didn't want to hear or we were disagreeing. And Jane saying, I think we need to have a talk about Aidan. How do you see him in your mind? And we then had this discussion about who were we thinking of the same person when we were thinking of this character? Good, actually. We ironed out any little discrepancy.
Weirdly, when we first started, very, very first draft, Aidan was a big, red-headed man with a beard, and he was going to be this jovial, jocular kind of sidekick. And within, I don't know, a week, we thought, what? No. This is A, it's a waste of a really good character, and B, no. He had to be a foil for Sam,
and he ended up being our main character.
And he ended up, being our main character and hero. So
it is interesting how our characters take over the story. I love when that happens. And it's like, I didn't see that coming. And the words are flowing on the page. You go, Lordy wordy, where did that come from?
That
just walk on.
That happened a couple of times. Cameron Morgan was one of those. Appeared.
And we loved him.
Yeah. And he just owned the page, basically. Every page he's on, he owned it.
And fantastic.
They just walk in fully formed somehow.
Yes.
Nowhere. It's amazing. Isn't it?
It is amazing, All right, Elise, you've written non-fiction, and this is your first foray into fiction. So how was the switch in your brain? And were you able to go back and forth? Were you writing non-fiction at the same time, or were you purely focused on this?
No, I wasn't writing non-fiction at the time, so I was focused on this. I had written a manuscript, So I guess I didn't come in cold.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't really find it too hard to switch between the two. I teach as well, so I teach English, and
Okay.
you're always teaching all sorts of things, like
Yes.
non-fiction and fiction.
Yeah.
So maybe that helped. I don't know.
Yes.
But I
Yeah.
didn't find it too much of a stretch, I guess.
Yeah. So Jane, going from dystopian thriller to psychological thriller, crime.
Yeah, psychological thriller. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like anything that pushes the boundaries.
Yeah.
So, and crime does that.
Yes.
And I'm very happy to write murky and dark, and so for me it seemed like a natural progression. And I was with Elise when she sort of said, "Oh, I thought crime would be relatively easy, straightforward." I actually thought, no doubt it can't be too difficult. But yeah, no, it's not easy.
We could not all wrong about that, actually.
Yes.
And hats off to all the crime writers, thriller writers.
Absolutely.
It's very tricky, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. I couldn't write it. I interestingly co-wrote a bit of a speculative fiction mystery with the other founder of Australian Book Lovers, but it's much harder than you think. Give me sci-fi and fantasy any day.
Yes.
I won't say easier to write, but different. I love reading crime, though. And why is it, do you think, that we love the gruesome? Why do we love the murders and the badly behaving humans who do terrible things to each other? What is it about humans that we love this stuff?
That's a good question. We do love it, though.
Yeah,
and
we do. I think we're ghouls, baby.
Yeah.
I don't know, do you want to know, is it calming to know the worst that's out there and it's not happening in your world? Or I don't know.
Elise is very into true crime. I'm not.
Yeah, I don't like the true crime
at all. I'm not a fan of the mushroom murders or anything like that. I read it in the news. That's enough for me.
I think I'm always amazed at what people can and will do, and then the lengths they go to cover things up, and they dig themselves into bigger and bigger holes. I also think, we're all lucky in some respect in that you don't find yourself in a situation that somehow escalates and gets out of control. And I think a lot of people end up in those situations, and what do they do to get out of it or deal with it? We're all flawed, Veronica.
Oh, yes, I absolutely agree.
I think
but that's what makes us human.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think that's the fascinating side of it for me, is the psychology behind it and what makes us behave the way we do. And, for whatever comes up in our lives or whatever problem we're presented with, we always have a choice. It's which path you take that will dictate what happens.
But I think when you say we always have a choice, but for some people, neither of those choices or any of those choices are good choices.
Yeah.
It's just better, the least bad option or the least bad option, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sure. So lots of interesting things happen in that space, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We're talking Aussie noir, and there are so many fabulous writers of crime in Australia. And I'm going to say particularly women writers. I mean, there's just some brilliant people doing stuff. Sisters in Crime must be the most, expansive group of people out. Why is that? What attracts great Aussie writers to write about Australia? I mean, thank goodness. I remember first reading Shane Maloney's Crime and thinking, oh, Melbourne, I've walked down that street. It wasn't in New York or London, thinking, wow, we have crime stories here in Australia. So what is it about Aussie noir and writing from an Australian perspective that you think that's hitting the kind of things that readers love to read?
That's a good question. I think a lot of the typical Aussie noir, when you compare it to Scandi noir, looking at frontiers, on either side of the world. I can see the dusty outback as an unknown place and possibly a scary place. For us, Aussie noir is urban and contemporary, and that's deliberately to sort of push the conception of what is Aussie noir.
Yeah.
We can have typical Australian people with the same sorts of dramas as people on the land, well, not the same dramas, but still fighting their own sort of little battles every day in the workplace, city, things like that. Yeah.
I mean, I think, we all know Scandi noir. It's been around for a long time. We all love it. And we all know exactly what we're going to get when we open the page or turn on the screen or whatever. And I think it's the same with Aussie noir in the sense of you've got your vast settings with the outback and the dust and the floods and the blue skies and the kangaroos and the possums and the this and that, and it's endless. But I also think the trouble is these become tropes, and I think there's more to us, just as there's more to Scandinavian countries than the ice and the snow and the blizzards and the whatever. There's more to Australia than the outback.
Yes.
And so I think it's really important for more Australian writers, crime writers, to kind of start looking for opportunities within cities and, not so much country towns. Country towns are great and but big cities are,
It's funny, Veronica.
Provide so much.
Jane and I actually are well placed to write the outback stuff because we're both sort of country people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we deliberately set out to write something slightly different, something which, could be to our detriment. Who knows? Because when people think Aussie noir, they do think outback and country and whatever, but we just didn't want to do that.
No. And tell me some great feedback you've got from your stories, and you shared a really lovely one with me. Tell me about the best feedback you've had for the Canvas Killings.
I think you're referring to this lady who wrote to put a message up on I think Goodreads that she loved the book so much she'd taken it with her on a trip to Japan, and she was so engrossed in the story, reading it on the bullet train, and just couldn't take her eyes off what was happening on the page, and didn't look up and look out the window and missed seeing Mount Fuji.
That is tragic, but that's just wonderful. I think that's just fantastic.
That was a great accolade.
Yeah, well, that's it. Compelling. That is, you've got that covered. Absolutely. Is there a sequel to the Canvas Killings? Are the characters doing anything more together?
Yes.
Ooh, that's great.
So the long answer is we just don't know when.
Okay.
We're working on
it.
Yes. Trying to come up with something worthy to follow.
Yes.
Lots of ideas, and we've been thinking about things, so we've ruled a lot out.
Because the crime in this was so kind of spectacular and compelling, and the art scene, it goes into the whole art scene, 80s, 90s in Australia, and we need to find something as equally spectacular for our hero that's worthy of his talents.
Yes.
So
sorry?
I was just going to say, hopefully, Veronica, in a year or two, we can talk to you about it.
Say, look, here it is. Fantastic. Yeah. Okay. So 4 years, you've written, you've texted, you've emailed, you've called each other. The book is done. It's drafted, it's edited. And then you decide to publish it yourself?
Yes.
Excellent. So tell me about the decision.
Well, we had
it was simple maths, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it really was. An author gets 10% of every sale. It's the average of $30 a book. That's $3. Divide that by 2. That's $1.50.
Yes.
And then your average Australian author, I mean, unless you are, you know, a bestseller author, which we're not, your average authors might sell a few thousand copies. That's it.
So we sort of
we thought, well, we might as well just give it a crack.
Yes.
And,
You're both smart,
Why not?
articulate.
Well, it was a very steep. We thought crime fiction was hard to write, like publishing and going into this zone.
It was hard.
So yes, I almost had a stroke.
Yeah, actually, Elise most of the Amazon formatting, all of that.
Yes.
It's beyond me. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it was a lot of work for a beginner. I'm hoping that we learned a lot. It was very, it was really interesting now looking back. Hopefully we can remember it all when we do.
Yes, that's right. Don't leave it too long because the technology is changing. Yes.
It was a really interesting process.
Yeah, look, it was worthwhile. So we set up our own publishing company.
Yes.
Jet Books.
Yes.
And, we just kind of,
We were fortunate we've got lots of good contacts with lots of skills we could draw on. So that was very helpful.
Yeah, that helped.
Yeah.
But it was a lot more work than fortunately we didn't know it was going to be that much work before we started, because we would have backed off straight away. But we were already, on the pathway and we couldn't stop.
Yeah.
But yes, it was a lot more work than we were expecting. But that's okay.
Easier next time. It will definitely be easier. Your second book, piece of cake, and then by the third, you're just going, yep, there's the files, up they go.
It is very helpful.
We use Amazon and Ingram.
Like that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that seems to be the best combination. Yeah, a little bit. And because the print on demand in Australia, it's lovely that we've got Ingram, that we don't have to, because I've had Australians whose books are published in the UK in particular, and just as send a single copy, the postage is just ridiculous, because they do print over there, and they
some print here as well.
Some do print here, yes, but some of the UK publishers, the smaller ones, are printing locally over there, and it's very tricky. Yeah. Tell me, is there going to be an audio book?
Oh, not after this afternoon.
Yeah. So for our listeners, we do have a little surprise at the end of this episode. You will hear some reading.
If there is an audio book, it won't be read by either of us.
How many takes was there?
A lot of
takes.
Without making a mistake.
It is, yes. And that does take a particular rhythm. I've been doing some practicing for someone to do some voice recording, and there's a particular cut and roll thing that you've got to get into the practice of it. It's very hard.
Yeah.
I was impressed with how you read out the sort of the blurb about our book start without a mistake, and after having several takes to that.
But I mean, won't say never, because we were talking about this evening, weren't we? About possibly using AI to do a voice, but apparently the technology isn't quite there yet.
It's not great. No. They've been talking even about doing some of the translations, and it needs a little bit more time. I'd hold off for a bit if you could. Yeah.
So, but I mean, yes, it would be lovely to do it, but it's a cost factor as well.
Always, yes.
It is amazing how many people ask for the audio book, though. So it clearly reaches a lot of people.
I think people, they like listening to books in cars.
Yeah, and when I go for a run, I have the headphones on, and I'm listening to somebody being murdered as I'm jogging down the street. It's fantastic. And housework, all those kind of things. I rarely do not either have a book in front of me or a book on my ears. And I did read recently some articles that show that our brains engage just as well for audio and for written, slightly differently in terms of what we register, but the story, we can get lost in the story whether we're hearing it or whether we're seeing it. So that's great. Yeah. And really, wouldn't we just love people just to keep reading?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
However it works for you, I
Yeah.
think all for it. Yes.
Yeah, very good. All right. Are you going to publish other people's books? Is Jet Books going to publish other
We
people's?
are very open to that.
Yes.
Should anybody want to approach us. We haven't actually got our heads around how that would work.
Yeah.
But
we are. I've started a new piece myself at the moment. Jane's got some work, so I think we'll continue to publish either together, separately, and think about it otherwise.
Yeah.
Very good. And so what's your next one, Elise? What are you working on?
I'm writing a historical fiction one set in country Victoria during and after World War II, loosely based on the story of my family.
Oh, fantastic!
And taking a lot of poetic license with that one.
Yes. Any particular cousin who should be on the lookout because you're going to do something terrible to them?
Definitely, this side of the family, they had. There were 10 children of the war generation, and of the next generation, there's only one child, and that's my. But very loosely, she ended up being, her father died, and her mother wasn't on the scene, and she ended up being brought up by her father's brother, so her uncle, who was just straight back from war in the very first Australian commando unit, and that shift, like how do you go from jungles of New Guinea as a single man or young, I think he was 22 or 23, comes home and brings up a baby.
Wow.
But I don't know how. I'm only in the research stage.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Story sort of writing itself in a way. I have it will be a work of fiction, so don't alarmed. Things to how you remember things.
Very good. Yeah, memory's a tricky thing. What about you, Jane? What are you doing?
Well, I've got a manuscript that I wrote 2020.
Yes,
probably.
Yes.
So 6 years ago. It's what is termed apparently a cozy crime. So I think Thursday Murder Club type of thing, except it's not. And but set in Australia, in a small country town, focusing on a group of female friends, and one of them is sort of this ringleader, and she, solves the crime.
Excellent.
It's very. I have to go back to it. It needs a lot of work. It's but there is that, and then I've also got another one that I've started, which I think could be a lot of fun, set in Melbourne, and involving vets and animals.
Ooh, okay.
Yes. So anyway, but that's.
Do you know, Veronica, the nicest thing about having written the Canvas Killings together and gone through the process of a collaborative piece is we're so good with one another about sharing our work and getting feedback and editing, and you feel so comfortable being. I will say brutally honest, but it's not from a brutal place. You just get this very honest assessment with no judgment, and neither of us have the ego.
Neither of us have ever sort of said, "How dare you?" Or
oh no,
I don't know. We have disagreed on occasion,
many times. But we do sort of say, "Well, look, you might be right.
Yeah.
I don't think you are." But I might not be right. Someone else might be right.
Yeah. But so
you can have this win, and I don't feel. Usually I'm worn out.
I know.
But it's quite nice like that. We will disagree, and we will remain disagreeing. But you have to go with one or the other.
Agree to disagree. Yes. Yeah. Fantastic. All right. So lots of advice for each other. What advice would you give aspiring authors?
Don't. As advice for aspiring authors,
I think, fake it till you can make it, basically. Tell everyone you're writing, because the more you say it, the more it makes it true in your world, the more you have to do it, and it forces you to sit down and get started. And it is a long process. And it's
be realistic.
To start a novel, what you see in the published book is nowhere near anyone's first draft. It's such a polished piece that I think you often read a book and just think, oh, how did they do that? How did they get all those things tied off? How did they write like that passage? It's so clever, but they're so worked by that point. You never
and they've been
it.
edited. I mean, if you're lucky enough to get published with a mainstream publisher, you realize very, very quickly that, okay, yes, you're the author, you're the creator of this work, but that is where your bit ends, really. It is then taken over and you become part of a team. And it takes a village to
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it gets edited and it gets re-edited and it gets reread and then it gets published, and then you've got all of the advertising and the marketing and everything. It's a long process. Even if you're super successful, it's a long process.
And have to.
So be realistic, but believe in yourself. I mean, absolutely believe in yourself. Come up with an idea. It doesn't matter if there are no original ideas anymore. It was everything that we read, watch has been done before. It's a version of something else that has gone before.
But you do bring something new.
So you bring something new to it and make it your own, and just enjoy the process. Rely on readers, but not necessarily just family and friends, because you actually do want honest criticism.
And I think it's difficult to listen to feedback and listen or take on board criticism, but also trust yourself a little bit. I think it's quite a delicate balance. And I think the further along you go with the process, the better you get at knowing deep down where the story's going and what you think it really needs, and trusting yourself and backing yourself for that.
And don't use AI.
No.
I mean, don't use AI to write. Use AI to research if you need to, but you're better off actually Googling or reading a book or something.
Yeah.
But do not use AI because that's not writing. That's just instructing, and it's a very different thing.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's.
But I think there's nothing better though than, for anyone aspiring to be a writer, those days, and admittedly, it's definitely not every day, but when you're in the flow, in that creative flow, and you're writing and it's working, there's nothing better than that.
Absolutely.
It's really fun.
Yeah, it is brilliant, isn't
it? Being a piece and just nailing it.
Sometimes
and going down
works.
and not often hanging upside down in a pine. It's you nail it and you get that perfect run.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the Canvas Killings, having said we've reworked it and changed things, there are still things in there that are virtually original to the first time they were written also. So obviously they're the moments when you're in the flow straight away. So.
Yes, yeah. How patient are your families? And you mentioned, Elise, that your son says you talk to Jane a lot, but how patient are your families for 4 years? They've been there while you've put this creative process together.
They've been very good, haven't they? They've been very supportive.
I'll get this out very quickly. I live in home. Both of my boys are grown up. One lives in Canberra, one lives in the UK. Excellent. So I speak to them once a week.
Yep.
And I don't have to answer to anybody.
Excellent.
Blissful.
Yes.
And now I'll hand you over to the woman, million people.
Yeah. No, well, my family were very supportive, and they just waited, and they were very positive, the kids, about any time I'd ask them to read something. they were very good, actually, surprisingly.
Mm.
But, they did give nice feedback, and we're all, who knows, maybe it's the generation, but they're sort of in their 20s, and I think that generation of kids are very they believe you can do anything, and
Yes.
you have a go.
We told them those stories, didn't
That's exactly
we?
right.
And they believed us.
All the kids have been very supportive.
And
Yeah.
very, after reading the published versions, really happy with things. weren't they?
Yeah.
That's good. All
That
right.
was very pleasing.
Reassuring too for your next ones. Now tell me, where can people find, first of all, the Canvas Killings, and then where can they follow you both online to hear about what you're up to?
Okay, so the Canvas Killings is available in some bookshops in Melbourne. It's also available on Amazon or any of the Ingram Sparks. If you Google it, you'll find it and you'll be able to buy a copy. We've got a website, jetbooks.com, and also...
That's Jet with 2 T's?
Yes.
So why Jet with 2 T's?
Jane, Elise,
both our names end in
Abbott and Wackett. So,
very good. Excellent.
So the Jet or what?
yes.
Yeah, Jet's better.
or Wappet or something. And we have Instagram, all lowercase, jet_books. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Any final words? Why should people read the Canvas Killings? What's in it? What's the message? What's that?
We're nice people.
They are nice people. Look, I can tell you, I've been chatting with them all night, and they are excellent.
It's a page turner.
It's a page.
Well, yes.
And it's got a great ending.
It's got a great ending. It's an intelligent read. Like it's not your average
Aussie noir.
It's really not your average Aussie noir. It's an intelligent whodunit.
I like those.
And it will keep readers guessing.
And in recognisable parts of Melbourne.
Oh, yeah. My favourite thing.
Yeah.
You might walk down that street.
Exactly. Yeah, I love stuff that's in Melbourne. I really do. Yeah. We can have as much crime as New York.
Oh, Melbourne, the crime capital of Australia?
Yes. What better thing? Well, Elise, Wackett, Jane Abbott, authors of The Canvas Killing. Thank you so much for your time this evening. And you can find The Canvas Killings on the mystery thrillers pages on Australian Book Lovers, or you could just press the learn more and you can read the beautiful blurb, which was, it's a really murderous legacy. And legacy is one of the things that, works on my brain. It's one of the things that I want to leave when I leave work, but perhaps not the murderous part. I think I will leave that out.
Yes.
I'd leave that one out, that's for sure.
Definitely. All right. So thanks for your time and take care.
Thank you
so much, Veronica.
Thanks, Veronica.
Wow. They were so... I'm still giggling. They were fantastic, weren't they?
They were good. They were good. It's really good.
Genuinely, I have such Odd Couple vibes from both of them. I adore them.
And when you see them, you go, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Yeah.
But I love just how many characters they're writing about in this book.
Yes.
And that blend of history and reality in with obviously the creative side of what these people were doing. But my God, what a book.
That's it. I don't know that I want to read it though, because it's a bit gruesome for me.
Well, I
don't mind gruesome, but
but it was so funny because talking about this book, and anyone who's been watching a bit of Disney Plus at the moment with Daredevil, there is a comic book character that's used in Daredevil who is called Muse, who uses the blood of his victims in his artwork.
Oh.
And so I was just making all these connections when you were talking to them, and I'm like, oh, why is this the thing that's cool now? What?
Yes. What
or at least
goodness? Yeah.
delving into why.
Delving into what? Well,
Since this
I'm
was a real
currently
story.
listening to Catabasis by R.F. Kuang, which is
Yes.
lovely. And of course, they're down in hell using blood and chalk to do their magic.
Yep. There's
There's something. There's
yeah.
something.
But
Anyway.
isn't it great the Aussie noir, Aussie crime thriller
Yeah,
that is really coming through at the moment? I mean,
that's
okay,
just
to be fair,
wonderful.
Aussies have got some pretty creepy crime stories.
Yes.
Like there's some
Yes.
good
Alan
ones out
Baxter,
there.
just for a start.
Speaking of,
And, I was just thinking Ashley Kalajian Blunt's books, Danuga Mackenzie,
Yep.
Lisa Kenway, all of those fabulous
Yeah.
sisters in crime and
Yeah.
those kind of things. They're just brilliant. So, yeah.
yeah. So, well, if you do like a good crime story that's really, really creepy, get on this one.
Get on this one, Daredevil. Yeah, get on this one. Yeah, all right. I am going to say thank you once again to the fabulous Elise Wackett and Jane Abbott, double T,
Double
of
T, double T.
Jet Books.
Mhm.
And thanks for chatting to us about the campus killings. And Laurie and I I think Laurie's definitely loving it. I'm just kind of decide whether it's going to be too gruesome for me, but I think still it's going to be a good book. So have a look on the Mystery Thrillers page and you'll see the campus killings and lots of great ones. Or just look up Jet Books and you can find them there as well. And so many good things that they talked about. I love that they thought it was going to be easy. That's why they picked crime.
It always makes me laugh every time an author will say that because, I can't think of you know what? Actually, interesting. For me, romance is my hardest genre to write. And like with crime, there's a set ending. You know where you're going to get in the end.
Yeah.
They're
you
going to
must
solve
have
the crime,
end.
and with romance, they're going to get together in the end. So you know what's coming.
Yeah.
But it's still so hard to do
Yes.
from a plotting standpoint, and so I'm always in a lot of awe of people that write true crime, particularly true crime stuff. Whew.
Yes. Yeah, I'm definitely not a true crime fan, but I do love crime, which is crazy. And that's, why do we love it? As, we just, because we're a bit ghoulish, all of us. But thank you again to Elise and Jane. That was fabulous. And we look forward to more from them, which may or may not be crime. But obviously it's a great co-authoring partnership. Very good, very good. All right. Do you have a quote for us, Laurie?
Do indeed. Let me just grab that back onto my screen. So short, sharp, but I thought this was very fitting, A, for the times, but also for the fact that we've had a few fantasy stories in our book spotlights, as well as some sci-fi. So people who deny the existence of dragons are often eaten by dragons from within. And that's an Ursula Le Guin. Yeah, and I love her quotes. But I thought that was very fitting for the times. Yes.
Definitely very fitting for the times.
Often eaten by dragons from within. Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
There you go. All right.
That could even fit in with a bit of crime. Can I just say?
It could indeed. Yeah, I think Ursula has great wisdom for many. All right, here's a quote about editing from May Sarton, who in fact was a Belgian-American novelist. So I hadn't heard of her before, but I really like this quote. Revision is not going back and fussing around, but going forward into the highly complex and satisfying process of creation. I like that. I thought, that's a better way to look at it.
Yeah.
Not going back and fussing around.
Trashing a whole bunch of stuff and rewriting it, which is where I'm at.
Complex and satisfying, because it does get more complex. Often we just let it pour out.
Yes.
And then we've got to shape it and work it and trim and expand and do all of those things. So, thank you, May Sarton, who was, in fact, Eleanor Marie Sarton. There you go.
There we go. We've got to another got to another end, Veronica.
We have, but stay tuned because
Yes.
we've got a little reading from the Campus Killings after this, and you must stay to the end because the last line is very tricky. I thought, this is an interesting bit to choose, and I thought, I know why they've chosen this bit. Yeah, okay, so keep listening. And in the meantime, remember, but first of all, if you want to be on the podcast, and please be aware there is a bit of a long waiting list, but please jump on, get your book on the website, australianbooklovers.com/for-authors. Get your book listed. We will endeavour to read it out as often as we can. We read as many as we can, and we chat about them. We put them on social media, and we are about celebrating and supporting Aussie authors.
And if you subscribe to our newsletter, you can be in the running for more book giveaways that
Hold
we
that thought while
excitedly...
I
go
get
on, show
the
me.
books.
Show me. Show me. Oh, don't put your back out.
Between tripping over or strangling myself on my headphones. All right. Coming up in this newsletter, Andrea Barton's The Man in the Dam.
Awesome.
Sasha Wakefield's Ascent of the Thunder Dragon, which is a fabulous memoir. Start at the End by Emma Gray, the best-selling author of Pictures of You. And, for a complete different change, Chuck Mackenzie's Nasty Little Bits. So it's delightful little, just a little slim hardcover edition. So that's fantastic. So we have to keep an eye out. There's more in the horror industry, horror market coming up.
One of Chuck's with the cat, and that's all I will just hint at.
Which is good. So jump on, because I'm about to send that newsletter out. And if you miss out on those, there'll be another fabulous lot in the next newsletter. But we give away some thanks to the generosity of our authors every month. So get on there, people, and do that.
Alrighty.
It's time to remember to
read
more
Aussie
books. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
At the far end of the same school auditorium Sam had left 20 minutes earlier, a tall, dark-haired man with nothing left to do observes the proceedings with mild interest. Were any to glance in his direction, they might assume there's a gap in his schedule and he's waiting for the next lot of parents to show up. But this, like so many assumptions made about him, would be incorrect. Aidan Voss isn't waiting for anyone. Tonight's duty's over, and with only his dead at home to provide poor company, he's simply killing a little time. He's learnt quite a lot in the 9 months he's been here, which is fitting given that it's a school. Not least, he's come to appreciate the strong camaraderie amongst the staff, an us versus them mentality, similar to the forces but without the high risk and never more evident than at a parent-teacher night. Barricaded behind small tables, armed only with their lists of grades, they hold the line while parents defend their children's shortcomings. Even at this late hour, and despite obvious weariness, the front shows no sign of collapsing. They are, he decides, a resilient lot, which is no small praise given his own experiences in halls of real power, occasionally on actual battlefronts. Not all of them, though, he remembers sadly. Some have fallen, haven't they? One, quite literally. He sighs, decides he's lingered long enough. Like Sam, it's time to break ranks. Maybe he should have left with him, gone for a pint or two on the way home. Except he's not in the mood. Not with the anniversary looming. He makes for his car. And thanks to light traffic and a string of green lights, he's home in minutes. The flat's proximity to the school is the only reason he rented the place. God knows it doesn't have much else going for it. One of 6 in a dingy block on a lesser street of a questionable neighbourhood. It's a far cry from what he's left behind in Sydney. Keen to get out of the cold, he bounds up the concrete stairs and lets himself in, where he removes his coat and tosses it over the nearest chair, adding to the general dishevelment. A real estate agent he dated on and off for a few weeks had described the mess as lending the place a lived-in vibe. An overly generous assessment, and probably why the relationship had been more off than on before it petered out altogether. Since then, a cleaner's been coming every couple of weeks, but even she can't keep up with the chaos. Still carrying his satchel, he retrieves the little key hidden behind the microwave,
and a couple of beers from the fridge. Just a few long strides through the kitchenette/dining/living room takes him into a short hallway. He pauses at the entrance to the second bedroom and presses his forehead to the door. Please be dead. Please be dead. Please be dead. Both door and frame, constructed of lightweight steel, are the only changes he's made to the flat. The landlord and managing agent are still unaware. With a final whisper, please be dead, he inserts the key into the 3-point locking mechanism, waits for the bolts to slide back, takes a deep breath, and pushes it open. It's so much worse when the legs are still twitching.
Let's meet again, where magic happens.